tonight. I just don't understand. Appreciate these people telling me about the suggestion about turn it on, turn it off. System be acting funny, and I just don't understand why. So if anybody comes, I'm here. I had to go away. So let's see if it keeps me on. Because sworn it didn't always be this way. All right, man, I'm back now. What's up? Yeah, it's a systems thing. Sorry about that. That really frustrated me too. I had a good get ready to attack that thing about the question about Nate Thurman. I was about ready to get into it too. And do I think that I said Russell and Chamberlain them guys could play today? I mean, yeah. All right, cool. We back right on. Appreciate it. Thanks for the suggestion. I turned it off back on. Yeah, they could play today. Um, Thank you. They appreciate you. Thank you both. Appreciate everybody that comes through. Yeah, they could play today. Um, they would adapt. Chamberlain would have been incredible in any era because he was a versatile big man. He wasn't limited by size, you know. He would have been all right. Thank you. Nate Thurman, I put it to you like this. I don't know. I don't know. I can't say because uh you got a lot of guys averaging 30 points a day. I don't know. I don't know. I can't say. It's a different era. You don't let me put it to you like this. Let me say this in English the best way I know how. We don't have anybody that's out here now that I call otherworldly. So let me put it like that. I might do a video about that. Too. You know I'm gonna go with that. I'll probably do a video about that. If we had an otherworldly player, we might. When I say otherworldly, and I'm gonna address that one tit about Walton in just a second. It's kind of like Patrick Mahomes winning 3 rings and 4 trips to the Super Bowl. That's otherworldly. Because think about that. He's almost halfway to Tom Brady level. Now, how soon does someone rip off those kind of runs if they're not otherworldly? Who do you have in the NBA today that you consider otherworldly? You have great players, but to be otherworldly, you got to be like pushing some crazy numbers. A whole lot of things got to go your way. I don't see a guy like that. I see great. I don't see otherworldly. I might do a video about that. And he was otherworldly. Okay, I'm gonna address that. Let me get on this thing about Walton real quick. Well, he would have been. I'll explain. Walton to me was his athletic, like not his athleticism, but his mind. He was really sharp. I think that was his underrated skill. He was more sharper. He could pinpoint what he was gonna do. Okay, so Jokic, great, but otherworldly, I'm talking about where he rips off like 30, 10, 10. That's otherworldly. 35, 12, and 10. Um, LeBron in the finals, that first one back in Cleveland, the first one in Cleveland was otherworldly. Without Kyrie and Love, he played out his mind. Incredible. Because he was leading both teams in scoring, rebounds, assists, block, all that. That's otherworldly. That's otherworldly. I don't see nobody today that's otherworldly playing. I just don't. Uh, they pretty predictable unless you're Michael Jordan, because that one was hilarious. Because he said, and I remember the guy who beat me in 8th grade, and I remember the trolling, the snark. Oh, he cringed me. He cracked me up. He really he went there. I had no problem with that. It took a lot of work to get to be that point, and there ain't nothing wrong with crying because you gotta remember something. There's a million and one odds that you're gonna be the dude that makes it. Do you know how tough it is to get to that level? It really is tough. It's a grind, and it's only the best of the best, and you got to be really special. It's tough. So I understand why they cry because it's not cut for everybody. Well, some of them do. Some of them are fake. Some of them are. I'm not gonna dispute that. Some do be faking the funk, but I do understand. So give me an example of returning play at a former team trip. Give me a former play, and I'll tell you what my peeve would be. Because if you're talking about like Dwayne Wade coming back to Miami after leaving Cleveland and Chicago, that was like Bobby Ewing in the shower in Dallas. That was jumping the ship. That didn't even make no sense. Well, his crime meme is one thing, but I do believe the tears though. Oh, that don't count. That Well, unless they show the video where he gets slapped, that's the only video that's people remember in Golden State. I'm just gonna keep it 100. They don't remember him making no shots that last year. They remember him getting slapped. That's the one that stands out. I'm just keeping it 100. Well, Joel Anthony, I can understand. Let me tell you why. He's in DC right now on a milk carton because he can't start for the Washington Wizards. He's on a milk carton. He's stinking it up. They booing him. He about as popular as the beer man is in Washington, and they suck. And he's horrible. And whatever icy spice or licey spice or ashy spice or whatever spice she was, she took all of him is gone. He sucks. He had a decent game against the Lakers though, but that don't count. That don't count because everybody plays good against the Lakers. But he scored 34 the other night, but he usually doesn't do that in a week. Ted knows. No, Joel Anthony coming back was a fitting thing because he was an integral part in practice and what he did. And I have no problem with that. And he didn't get slapped out like Jordan Poole. So there's a difference. He didn't leave the town under, you know, there's a difference of the two. The big difference. Joel Anthony earned his ring and, you know, and he got it, and that was it. Jordan Poole, he was supposed to be part of the second team for the future. And he just lost his plight. That's all. Big difference. Big difference. He got punched and he um you know what? This is not a pet peeve, Ted, but this is an interesting take. How about the cats who don't get drafted? They sit by the phone like this, and then them faces get sunk. How about that? They do, but that's the ones that stand out to me when they're waiting for that phone and that phone don't never ring. That's the ones that stand out to me. They're like, and then that look of horror, like, and they're like, okay, you're gonna have to go get that painting job with your Uncle Jimmy next Tuesday. That was the ones that stick out to me. They thought they gonna get drafted by the Bears, and then they in the third draft day and their head scratching. Yeah, I seen that happen a couple times. The ones who don't, that's the one. And what you my pet peeve about that? Don't bring nobody up there on the TV to get them to be disappointed. That's the pet peeve I have with ESPN. You sitting up there thinking that you're gonna get drafted and you all wearing a tight butt suit and you sit up there choking on some food, and then 20 minutes goes by, hour goes by, and then that look of like, uh-oh. Yeah. So that's my pet peeve. Oh yeah, well, someone's mama, that's always funny if they sitting up there, you know. Yeah, but his was see again, it, his was because again, Drew Hansen was considered a better player at the time, so that was a different situation. He was unathletic, wasn't mobile, All right, who's greater all time? Well, I'll let Ted answer that one. I'll answer it too. If you're asking me out the organizations or you're asking me out the players, depends on what question. I'm gonna say this: the Lakers had guys that they got were better, but the Celtics were better because I'm gonna tell you why the Celtics. They drafted most of those guys they got. Um, they live and die by the guys they draft. The Lakers pretty much inherited all most of their big men, all the main big greats. So that's the problem if you want to be with that. Both great organizations, and they both did it in two different ways. But the Celtics, I got more respect because they stuck by the drafts they had. You know, they drafted Larry Bird, they drafted Paul Pierce, they drafted Bill Russell, they Sam and Casey Jones, Havlicek, Dave Collins, even Tatum, Brown. You know, regardless of where you come down, I know somebody going before you throw Garnett and Ray and all that. They was already, but Pierce was the main guy. He won the Finals MVP. That's what I'm saying. So, but it's a great question. I mean, I respect them both. They both, you know, top dogs in basketball, but it's different. The Lakers get the better players though. Well, whose fault is that? And they stuck with Jason Tatum, and you saw what happened the other night. As I tell Ted all the time, I don't trust Boston. They do Boston things. Blew that game to Cleveland with no Donovan Mitchell. Got out hustled by that D Wade. That was crazy. Hanging all on the rim, beat that butt. It because of the hype. Just like the NBA, they make it like a big deal, and then ends up happening. About 20 guys get added on at the last second. You know how they make a big deal about who's getting. Yeah, well, that's going to be their Achilles, and they have no inside presence. They have no bench. They're one trick pony. That's why Miami ain't worried about them. I'm telling you, I'm not sold on Boston. I know the media and them want to slurp Jason Tatum and put him as an MVP and Brown and all that. I think Joe Mazzulla is a good coach, but they missing that thing. Okay, the Boston Celtics are kind of like the usher of their now. They got everything you want, but they don't have that one thing which would make them great. That's my personal opinion. They make me think of Usher. They get everything right almost, but it's that one thing they don't seal the deal. Till you know what I'm talking about. But anyway, All Star Weekend, yeah, because the hype, and then ends up two or three guys don't make it, and some cats from Arizona, some get in there. No, it's not. No. So I'm tired of that. I'll address that fully. But that's All Star Game pet peeve. Well, if you said, I say Usher because they don't finish with Tatum and Brown. If they were the Archie Bunker Sports is the New England Patriots. No, the dunk contest is not necessary anymore because I heard Zion Williamson what he said. He said he'd only do it if he was picked as an all star. Well, first of all, you got to play Boston Ushers. You got to play to be an all star. And second of all, your team's got to be legitimately legit. And if you're an all star, you legitimately get picked. I don't blame him for not wanting to be on a dunk contest because then he'll think that that's all he came to do and then he'll disappear. Yeah. Well, think about it. Belichick, Brady, and Kraft they were all what? Trump guys. So I saw them make America great cap again in Brady's locker. Think I didn't see it. Let me write this down because I want to do a video tomorrow. Zion Williams and That's funny, Zion. DP. That's funny. That's funny. He brings his butt in shape and he play like he's supposed to. He'll get it. He's a waste of talent. I don't even talk about him. Ted, no, I don't talk about. I hate talking about a guy who could be great because he's not even worthy of me calling him a bum. He's becoming a never was. He can't stay healthy. His team underachieves. They should have been right where OKC is. He should be where Shea is right now. He should be where Minnesota is right now with Anthony Edwards. He should be with Ant Edwards and Shea. And what do we think about with Zion? We thinking he's up to eating some cheesecake and eating on that gumbo, and he ain't bringing his butt off the table. Can't do nothing with me. He frustrating. So I don't even talk about him because he's falling to the never was. And he is, that's the sad part. Yeah, they're not a threat to nothing. There is no life there. They're a lifeless team. Kraft cheese, yep. Mm-hmm. Chasing them skirts too, but anyway. Yeah, he doesn't he wonders why people come at him. I'm like, well, you don't play. You showed some promise, but we've had like cuts and reels of you for what, 4 or 5 years? We forgot about you. I like Ja. I think Ja is like to me like Penny Hardaway with spring, with an Iverson flair, but he has to be able to play the game on and off the court and stop being like a old 90s hood movie. You're not hood. You're playing the NBA. Yeah, but it seems like he's been on for 15 because I forgot the Duke days and when he blew his shoe out. Seems like a lifetime ago. He's getting old real quick. Zion Williamson is about to become like Blake Griffin. Just saying. Ben Simmons, it's and I told you after Danny Gallinaro, he was gonna pimp slap his shot from behind. He was scared to go to the free throw line. And the guy, is it the Kardashians? Is it his own mental health? I don't know. He's not trash. He just can't play. It's not because he's trash. Just can't play. Yeah, he got suspended for Boys in the Hood and Minister of Society crap, which he listen. These white folks ain't gonna let you. They gonna let you do certain things, but them hood antics, oh no. No, 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 no. Who doesn't want to play? Ja wants to play. It's just that he don't want to obey. And he got to understand that he's got to obey. He's wasting a great career. He did about the Deshaun Watson him. Yeah, but he missed out most of last year. He's been hurt this year. Think about it. It's going to be a wash for him. He's got to come back and actually play. That team fell off. Yeah, folks got money, but he playing this hood role. And that's the problem. He trying to be boys in the hood. That's what the white boys do too. So, but anyway. They don't take him serious because his mentally he just fell off, but he was a good player. When he had moments, he had some moments. Ted, no, he had some moments. I know right now he's the pinata of a lot of jokes. He's the butt of a lot of jokes, and no one's gonna get up. But I'm telling you, I know Skip Bayless still got hope for him. I don't, but it's because he mentally, he just it's what it was. Cat was on something for a cat that didn't even have a shot. The white boys play that hood like because they trying to have adventure. See, what John Morant's doing is what the white boys used to do. That's what Andy Reid's son got busted for, trying to be hood. And they get bored, drive around, flashing guns, talking crazy. But Ja's not done though. Ja's not done. But if he makes another mistake, they're gonna run him out worse than they did Kyrie. Matter of fact, because Kyrie can't even look cross-sided no more. Them white folks are done with him. Ja's in the same boat. Do something stupid again. Do you know what I'm talking about? It's true. And white boys do that mess. And that's like that Malibu's Most Wanted. You remember that movie? You seen that movie, Malibu's Most Wanted? I remember when that white boy was popping at that time. That movie used to crack me up. That was funny. Yeah, but it didn't really the baby mama situation is the last thing, but that thing got resolved in Miami. That got resolved. He didn't get no trouble. It got resolved. You gotta be careful when you're out here though. You styling and profiling too much. They watching you. You hit it, but he didn't, But that got settled out of court. That got settled. Tyreek, man. Come on now. I love Steve Smith, but come on. Come on now. You run slants like Ty did. Come on, man. Ty came up big in the Super Bowl. He came up big against my Bills. You just like, well, I like Smith. Smith tough. Smith was like the Allen Iverson of receivers. I'll give you that. But Ty, come on, man, with that burst. I mean, Ty, the speed, agility. I mean, they was talking about him as an MVP candidate. Steve was bad as Steve is. He never had that kind of hype. And I don't know what Tua would be without Ty. I'm just keeping it 100. Okay, you're not really caught up with sports drama. Well, stuff happens. Stuff happens. And of course, you're in Africa, so it's like when you get like what happens in the states, it has different connotations too, because there's a lot of politics. He's a great receiver. He ain't got no quarterback. I'm sure Ted could relate to that. But Ted would love him on his Green Bay team. He dying in Minnesota. I don't know if Dobbs is going to stick around. I don't know what Minnesota's going to do. I notice ain't nobody say anything about Russell Wilson going to Minnesota. I don't think that's going to happen. Yeah, we feel you in. I feel you in on stuff. But it's a little bit different stateside because the guys have beef with different segments. So that's all. And, but if you got questions, we got answers for you. Well, you got soccer, you got football, and that is a very athletic sport. You know, got some talent. It's just that it's just different. And you have basketball players that are playing, so that takes athleticism too. Receivers pet peeves, the shades. They get real diva like, just throw me the ball, and then pout and mount when they don't get the rock. And then they the real divas too. They're the biggest divas beside more than anybody because they stand up there. They'll stand up there. You see from To to AB. You know, so yeah, NFL receivers are the divas. Yeah, I just explained it up there. I just said when I told Ted, I said, "Bet Ted would love to have JJ." Yeah, he got good athleticism. He got good technique. He got good footwork, good hands. He just ain't gonna have because I don't know if Dobbs is the answer now, and I know that Kirk Cousins is done there. So you know, so Jefferson's nice. They just you don't know what they're gonna do with their quarterback. That's all. Well, as a fan of it, I'll say this: Pele was real popular when I was a youngster. I remember following New York Cosmos. I keep up with more on the worldwide thing. So obviously with Mexico, Germany, Argentina, when I watch World Cup, the women's World Cup is great. The men's is average at best. Um, so I watch it more, and I expect Germany and Spain and them to be more dominant. So I watch it more from a World Cup perspective. I know about Ronaldo, and I know some of the guys that play, but statewide, it's not big on the men's side. Pele was incredible. No, I do not. I told Ted that too. Just the basics. Me and the UFC is something that I watch. Like I know some of the cats, but the problem with me and that is that I'm not a big fan of Dana White. Ted knows. Not a big Dana White fan. A lot of times it's gimmicky because not saying that the women and the women that fighting are gimmicky, but you gotta have it's kinda like TV wrestling, like, whoever they wanna put money on, they keep money on. Like, Ted and I were talking about Conor McGregor the other night. He still got money on him, and he sucked for, like, 5 or 6 years. Cause I respect Miss like, I used to watch mixed martial boxing growing up back in the day, but it didn't really get for me because I grew up on boxing. Okay. See, I grew up on boxing. That's why. And I'm more of a boxing fan than I am a UFC. Now listen, I'm gonna be the first one to tell you, and they're two different types of fighting. They're not the same. I respect it though, because you got to be quick, agile, and you got to be able to take a kick and a pounding, or your butt could get knocked over with quickness. So you got to have double agility. However, it's not something that I necessarily have wholeheartedly embraced. It just didn't really move me. That's all. Floyd. I'm not going to go against Floyd for one main reason, because Floyd was one of the greatest defensive fighters I've ever seen in my life. If you do something better than most, you're a dominant source. So how am I going to go against a guy that was more dominant in what he did? I'm not going to sit here and tell you that. I'm not saying he's the best I ever seen. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying the guys couldn't have beat him from another era. But think about it. His dominance of his defensive strategist is with almost anybody. And you can't touch that from Floyd. So I don't know. It depends on what era you come up watching boxing. I never seen nobody really take Sugar Ray Leonard's head off or Sugar Ray Robinson, so I don't know. You gotta remember, it depends on what era you're talking about. Many of them, Ted. I mean, Hagler and Leonard's one. I mean, a lot of them, a lot of them. I thought that the Sweet Pea Whitaker and Julio Cesar Chavez fight from 31 years ago was bad. He put a clinic on Caesar and they didn't, and because boxing is funny. If you don't knock a guy out, you can't live with the decision. I remember George Foreman fought Michael Moore when he won the chip in '94. All right, peace out, DP. Good talking to you. Appreciate you. Um, and come by again. Be here. Thanks for the advice about the screen too. So, um, I don't know who you're talking about, Newbie. All right, peace out. I don't know who you're talking about, Newbie Tube. Um, when let's go back to this question. There've been you still there, Ted? There've been so many bad. Okay, cool. Right on. Good to see you. Appreciate you, and hope you get better too. There've been so many bad boxing decisions that appreciate the questions and everything. Great topics as always. Appreciate you. There've been so many bad decisions that, yeah, when Foreman said if he didn't knock Moore out, he wasn't gonna win the fight. So he must have known the rest were like, not tonight. So when they got money on a fighter, you got to knock him out. That's what I don't like about boxing. That's one of the problems I have with boxing. That's why I'm a fan of what I remember. However, if it came down to the judges or something, I would probably be done with the sport. All right, man. Appreciate you. I'd probably be done with the sport because um, it's too much politics involved. They tell you got to knock somebody out. So if you don't knock them out, you don't get the fight. You'll lose. Not when I was growing up. Now, if you coming in the Floyd Mayweather and these other guys, okay, I'll give you that. Not when I was coming along. But you gotta remember something too, Ted. They got more belts. They got too many belts now. And that was another problem that was coming on with boxing. They had the super heavyweight, the world heavyweight, the steak and cheese heavyweight. They had all these title belts. I remember Riddick Bowe threw one in the trash. That was right before you were born. They had too many belts. WBA, WIC, WQP. I mean, it just was too much. They can duck when they can get more money. That's what that's about. It's not necessarily that they're afraid of the guy. They trying to get top dollar. It's not always about that they scared. Some of them do duck, but I will tell you this. I want to say 7 times out of 10 is because they want more money. 7 to 8 out of 10. It's not they ducking nobody. Because you only get a couple shots to make some real bag if you win and if you're charismatic. Sometimes the games start later. You know, that's my main pet peeve. So they make the games later. Put the finger in your food. I mean, that might be the real pet peeve right there. You got to worry about the food not being tasting kind of like a finger. I haven't really dealt with a lot of Uber driver pet peeves. I mean, I used to like have food delivered when I did, but that was a long time ago when pizza and stuff with the delivery drivers. And that's been a minute. Boy, that's been a minute. It's too long. And uh a waste of home runs and I mean, make that mess, cut that thing down. You don't need all that spring training. Too long. It's just like the NFL preseason. I think after a couple a scrimmage or two, You don't need to have no 4 games. Cut that thing down to about 1 or 2 and a couple scrimmages, and that's it. You know who you're going to keep. You know who you're going to cut. And you end up in football, probably in baseball, where you have guys that are designated to practice with the starters. So stop acting like you're not going to keep some guys and trimming this and all that. You know who's not going to make it. It's ludicrous. Because everybody knows he's going to get fired except him. He always act like he's in the dark. And everybody knows you gone. It's like Ron Rivera. Like, who didn't see that coming? Like, everybody knew he was dead man walking. We said that about what? 10 weeks in the season. You sitting around there like, I didn't see it coming. I didn't know. Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. If you work a job and you know you're going to get fired, chances are you're not going to get fired if you're in pro sports too. Come on now. The only way coaches don't get fired is if they're either winning, they keep their mouth shut, or they play real good they play good politics, and they, you know, other than that, they're gonna get fired. I just think cadence. When guys are always outside, if you're a Cowboys fan, that's always one of the things that they just do dumb stuff. Sometimes you just don't work on fundamentals. That's the coach's fault. If your team is not fundamentally sound to basic common sense stuff, that's on you. That's the coach's fault. I can't find fault. I can have issue with offensive linemen, but that's the coach's fault. Your people should be trained properly. So I don't like it when teams do that though. That it sucks that it's still on. That's my pet peeve right there. They actually have the audacity to put that garbage on. It's one of the worst shows ever. It hasn't been relevant in years. And it's just one of them shows that just takes up space. So they've made it into such a clown fest that it's not even, and it hasn't been worth watching in years. That if a guy gets hot, that he's suddenly gonna be worth being treated like he's a superstar, like he get this delusion of grandeur, you know. And I tell it like this: I said, unless you become Kevin McHale or James Harding or something, you're not a superstar. See, the Lakers are guilty of that with Austin Reeves. They got these people out here thinking that he's on some come up. He ain't. He ain't. Even white folks ain't running behind him like that. I mean, he has some good moments, but he ain't that dude. He is what he is. Stop. The role players back in the day stayed in their role. There wasn't You didn't mistake Robert Ory with Shaq, Elijah Wan, and Duncan. Okay, stop with this mess. Guy was great at his role, and that's what he did. But he wasn't no co-star, and he wasn't considered top tier. He came with big plays. That's how I come. None. What am I have a pet peeve with? Say he can't get no job. I got no pet peeve with him. Sam was all right. He was a second, third tier, 2.5 tier type player, but he did his job. He came up with some big shots. He played good. You know, he did his role. He showed winning trajectory when he was with the Rockets. He showed winning trajectory with Boston. How am I gonna have a problem with him? Because he was a role player. He understood his role. He was to go in the game, make some shots, play a little defense, get a couple assists, maybe get a rebound or a steal. And he did what he was supposed to do. I got no problem with him because he was effective, and that's why I'm surprised he hasn't got a head coaching job. Someone to talk trash and be rude and vulgar, or they'll nitpick something. You know, they trolling. It all depends. Some of it I like, some of it I don't. It depends. I like when Rasheed Wallace would say we play both teams play hard. I love that. That's my favorite post game quote. None. Because I can't say nothing today for a simple fact. Maybe those guys ain't pro ready, or maybe they just better off getting more season in college. What am I? I can't even address that one. Probably didn't see any options with the NBA, and he probably have to go to Europe. So, you know, which happens. But so yeah, that's my tuck on that. I don't really even really had that discussion with those guys. No pet peeve with that. You talking about when they realignment? That's why he retired. Is that what you're saying? Because I'm trying to understand it when you say he retired because NIL. Well, I want to think. This is what I want to think. I like to think he retired because he lost to the best team. They ended up winning the chip, and he knew his team had overachieved, which they did. They beat a Georgia team that was a two-time back-to-back champion, and I don't think Bama was a chip team, but they were a team good enough to be in the mix. Turns out they gave Michigan far more of a game than Washington, went to overtime, and I think he went out good because he went out like you go out like, could he have won? Could that team have been good? He didn't go out he didn't go out like somebody that looked like his team was like what 6-6 and they were barely getting through, you know. So he went out the way you'd want to go out if he didn't win. That was close enough. The fact that the quarterback's gonna take a pounding. That's the only downside to the no huddle offense. Happened to Jim Kelly and happened to Kurt Warner. Because after a while, that pounding be for real. They will plant you into the ground. It's good when you can hit them strike quick sixes, but and you take a hit. Because I remember Kurt Warner against Tampa Bay in that game when they won the NFC Championship. And he hit Ricky Pro, but he took some shots. They teed off on him. That's what happened to Jim Kelly too. They tee off on you. That's the only sad because you're asking your offense to like speed up. Guys got to be quick and move. And then on top of that, there's a lot of freelance safety blitzes, guys coming in on you. So they're gonna hit them holes against you. So that's the only downside. If they can't pass and guys go 9 in the box, then what? So so when Dallas was it 1 year, Emmett was back there and they would run 9 deep in the box. They have no respect for your passing game. So when you become a run heavy offense, you got to make them pay. Well, if you can't make them pay, they're going to stack the line against you. So that's the downside. That's what happened with Derrick Henry. That's one of the reasons why he's starting to look kind of long in the tooth now. Or they kind of not, he may not get a lot of bids because he ran a lot, took a pound in the beating. You know, West Coast offense pet peeve. It was the slickest offense ever. Little drop passes, touch passes. Um, my knock is that they stopped the running game and the fullback from running. It just basically stripped down all your cadences, and you could hit slants, and if you got a Jerry Rice or Roger Craig, a slant could be a quick six. But everybody wasn't cut out for it, and you got to have a quarterback that's strong, that can be mobile enough to dance in the pocket and then take what he can get. So it's little drop offs. It keeps your passing game efficient. It's a smart tool because it simplifies your game. Keeps the defense honest. The only problem I really ever had with it is that again, it doesn't allow the running game or the fullbacks to get on set. So it's just like dink and dunk. And then when everybody does it, it gets kind of watered down. That's it. Remember against Dion? Was in 99. He hit that one because you were too young, probably remember that one, but he took that one. That's why he became the king of the rack. Because a little short, fades, cut, go. You catch it left, you zag right, and then you bust the middle. But that's how athletic Jerry was too. And he was quick with it too. He wasn't the fastest guy and he didn't even have the quickest wheels, but Jerry could hit you left, right before you have a chance to get lateral with him, and then he'd be gone. That's what made Rice so incomplete, made him so complete, and so because he was, you know. Well, with any defense, it's just that you show like you're playing your cards, you're selling out your defenses a certain way. So the bottom line is, if you don't have the pieces in place to hit home, you can get picked apart. So the problem is that a lot of these defenses and these offenses and these cadences, people are so used to them. So now it's kind of like, okay, we know what they're going to do. So, so, you know, it's a copycat league. And so the problem is a lot of those team people do the same thing. So, it's, you know, um, I think that when they get so one sided in who they're going to allow to be the head coach or uh, the drafts, because they definitely, you know, but I look at it like that. I have more of a problem with that. Not, so GMs have to be in between the players and the owners, and it's one of them things where however they draft some. Sports Island reporters pet peeves. I think Aaron Andrews. Now you do your job, but you can't be like, I mean, they deal with all kinds of exploitation, but that's why they get hired too. It's a real touchy subject, especially with female sports analysts, especially on football fields, because they see guys in locker rooms nude. It's a lot going on. So, um, she did. Now I heard about that dude in Chicago that was through the peephole and all that mess, and that was unfortunate. But then she got on Dancing with the Stars, and she married that guy and all that. But that one, the athlete guy. But Jimmy G said, "Take care, sugar," and something like that to her, and that didn't get no pullback. But when she and Richard Sherman, she was like all bugged out. Yeah, I don't. I'm funny with that. You know, Pam Oliver's professional. Lisa Salter's professional, Darius Burke professional. So just because if you're attractive female, doesn't mean that you don't can command the respect and still be feminine. You know what I'm saying? But when you're trying to, these vibes is kind of like, I don't know. There's that blonde that works on ESPN. She's professional. She's attractive looking, but Oh, you remember when he said about with Michael Crabtree, he said he mediocre, and her face was like she said the NFC Championship game. You remember when Seattle beat the 49ers 11 years ago, 12 years ago, and he talked to her with the mic. He said Crabtree mediocre. He sounded like Mr. T, and she got real Snow White. Yeah, have you never seen that clip? It's after the game when they beat them because Kaepernick in a sky. Yeah, that was the exchange. And she had that white horror look like, oh my God, this Negro is scaring me. He's scaring me. He said, he mediocre. And it cracked me up. See, that's the Sherm that was lovable. That's the Sherm back then. Never would have got no TV gig, you know. But he was funny and he was talking trash. He talked trash to Brady too when he beat him. They beat him in when New England came to Seattle and they beat him. He said, "You mad, bro?" That's where Patrick Jalen Ramsey got. Hmm. Oh yeah, he is because if he ain't on his meds or drinking something, he's gonna slap Skip. Remember how it was before? But he's trying to get that white money. That's what's up. And I don't know if white money mean white money or cocaine money. You tell me. But he's trying to get that white money. Something about Sherm's off though. Hmm. So he wouldn't have him on there. He wouldn't have neither of Steve Smith on there. He wouldn't have the basketball or the football one because they both would embarrass him. Football Steve Smith would talk trash and be a better version of what Sherm ain't and Keyshawn put together. Basketball Steve Smith is too dignified to be on the screen with Skip. So that's two L's right there for Skip. But if they were smart, they would have a Steve Smith and Steve Smith show on. The direct brother and the dignified brother. That would be compelling. Steve and Steve, Smith and Smith. But Skip ain't gonna do that though. You good? Good. You know. I mean, I tolerate him better than I do JJ Reddick. I'm tired of all them dude boys being on there anyway. Yeah. But I know you like Jay. Uh Self righteous. It's just something about him that comes across kind of. Because if he told how he felt about Marcus Allen getting wiped out by Al Davis, he probably wouldn't have got that gig. But because he comes across like this military, all righteous, good. I mean, Howie is a good dude. And his son turned out great. Chris a cool white boy. He a cool white dude. But Howie comes across all right, almost conservative, almost like he's too. Elway was bopping his head when he was president of the Broncos, and it was annoying. But he did do a good job. He should have been the Jerry West of GMs. Instead, he fell off bad. He fell off bad. Because Brock Oswald and all them other scrubs. Whew. And it's a shame. Fell off bad. I don't have any really pet peeves against him as a player. I had, I respect, even though I didn't like his disdain, he didn't want to initially be drafted with the Colts. I had a little issue with him, but let's just say he's one of the greatest ones. The whole Marcus Allen thing. And that was embarrassing. Aside from the Marcus Allen thing, I had no problem with him being a rebel. I mean, even though it's kind of made for TV, him being a rebel in the NFL was kind of real at the time, pre-Mark Cuban type of thing. But his stunts are kind of a bit much. But hiring Art Shell was a great move. First black head coach in modern era, and Plunkett and all. I mean, he did some smart things, but the whole thing with Marcus Allen was atrocious. And I understand Bo being special, but he did Marcus dirty. So he fell off in the somehow Marcus got into Al Davis's doghouse and they stopped playing him. They were working him with Bo Jackson, and all of a sudden they kind of phased him out. I'm trying to think of something that you could relate to today, that a guy that's gotten kind of phased. It's kind of like how the Brooklyn Nets did Kyrie, but it's a different situation, but started to phase you out. Kind of like what PJ Tucker is talking about with the Clippers. They don't play him. But Marcus had won that Super Bowl with the Raiders. He was a great player. And they brought Bo in, but they started to kind of phase him out. They didn't, whatever Al Davis, and then he just left him there to rot until he ended up going to Kansas City and he got to play again. And he wanted to stick it to the Raiders every chance he got, because no one could understand why Al Davis was like that with him. There's video of it out there too. So, but you'd have thought Marcus was macking on Al Davis's women's or something, but I don't think so. I got enough Marcus stories already. He was OJ's right hand man, and he was like an OJ Junior Whopper. But great player, one of my favorite players. But that's what happened though. Yeah, he was good. But remember, he lost a lot with the Raiders because he stayed in the man's doghouse. They wouldn't play him. So it was a strange situation. Where him and Montana were together. Well, it depends on what you mean by stories. I mean, what you want to know. He used to run with OJ and Ronnie Lott and Nicole Brown Simpson. Marcus was chasing them blondes too. He was a Hollywood brother. He just didn't have OJ's appeal, but he tried everything else almost. You know, he was one of my favorite backs. It's like he kind of veered, but he didn't quite go all the way. He looked like he was, but he didn't quite go all the way. Well, see, first of all, he never had enough crossover appeal, despite being a Super Bowl MVP, and that run, he didn't really connect like that. He had some love, but he wasn't like that. Wasn't quite like that. But yeah, he was one of my favorite backs, and he was versatile. Could throw the ball too. Crossover, brother. I think he's one of them kind of situations where he just because he wasn't. No, I didn't think he was tapping. I just thought he had crossover appeal, which he did with Auburn. Spoke out on some issues, but he had crossover appeal. There are actually black athletes who actually speak, who are what I call non-politically threatening, but they're not necessarily bucking either. They just have appeal, and they are black. Like I never thought Bo. Bo was one of those guys. I think when you think of buck dancing vibes with him, it's only because he never had what I call personality. He had charisma because he was a great talent, and people marveled at it. But it wasn't because he just was gregarious that you like, oh, Bo. See, so that's the kind of the thing I think with that. But his talents were so great, and he was catchy. And you might think he leans that way because you know, but no, he attracted people. So, but he was a low key cat. He went to Auburn. He didn't really there was nothing I got. Is it because he married a white woman and he got and because of his lineage, or is it because you just pick up his vibes? I just want to know. Um, he obviously has to be able to have crossover appeal to get multiple coaching opportunities. It goes without saying, because the NBA just doesn't keep you if you're black. They don't keep hiring you. Well, they did with Bernie Bickerstaff, but other stuff. But and I still don't understand that one. But Doc, you know, yeah, I mean Griffey Jr. had a likable personality though. The kids wanted to be like him, and he was likable. And I didn't, you know, but he's also got kind of a soft spoken, accessible vibe. So he was a great talent. So there you go. You know, yeah, you can cross over without buck dancing and be a superstar black player, but I don't think I don't think so because Doc didn't win. Doc wins, Ty Lue might not be in the NBA. Think about that. Doc didn't win with the Clippers and he didn't win with the Sixers. So now this thing with Milwaukee better hit for him. So I'd say a backstab. I wouldn't call him a buck though. Ty don't give me buck vibes. He's just that it didn't take a genius to figure out that Doc wasn't working out with the Clippers. That's all. I don't think he'd have to necessarily, shut him up though. Well, he's playing within his, I mean, he's hitting shots. That's all. They're going to have games where he looks like that. What happens when they start to clamp up on defense? What happens if he has to play defense or he has to, get assists and rebounds or steals? So, depends on who they play. They got waxed last night by Golden State. He looked old. And remember, he like his old. He looked old. He looked old last night. But I mean, playing with a team like well, you can say what you want. On paper, I'll give you that on paper, but they don't play it on paper. And like I know, Milwaukee can be had, especially by Miami. Playoff Jimmy come up. So I'm not worried about him. I tell you before, I need Jimmy Butler to produce in the finals. I ain't worried about the Eastern Conference. I let other people get worried about it. Man been to two finals and to been to four Eastern Conference championships. He been in Miami. So if he ever figures out how to step it up on the gas come money time, then that will solidify him. Buck should win. It'd probably come to that. Most people are worried about that. You know, that'd be a problem for the Celtics though. They don't finish them off in 5. They're not gonna come out because anything more than 5 games against Miami, and I'm just keeping it 100. You're supposed to be the best version of you. You better finish them off in 5. If you go 6 or 7, you ain't gonna win nothing. Well, because they went offensive first, and now that's the problem. When Brunson got hurt and Randall, so that's the problem. But I didn't trust Tibbs, no way. I didn't buy it. So, but they're not done until they go to the postseason. It don't matter if we move up or not. Makes no difference. It's all about the postseason. I tell you right now, Jimmy and Bam figure out how to win a chip. The Heat will be the baddest team post Golden State. Mark my word, because nobody else can do what they can do. Now, when Kawhi was a renter going around with Toronto, and if he had one with the Clippers, then he would have supplanted LeBron and Durant for that. But it ain't turned out good for the Clippers. And he got to win and come up big. So that's out. But what I just said, hear me out. Giannis and Jokic are great, 1 and 2. Okay. But they are great, great. Jimmy Butler is not great, great, and Bam isn't great, great. So think about it. They would win a chip with what they got, and to do it the way they do it, undersized over man, outmatched, that would be bigger. That would make you replace the Heaties. That's how big a win would be with that. Oh yeah, if he does that, he will definitely be top 6. Maybe even higher because the difficulty without having a LeBron, a Bosh, and a D Wade. Are you kidding me? With Bam and Butler? Are you kidding me? And Tyler Hero and Duncan and them? Come on now. You know. So what they have done has been very impressive to get the 2 finals. That's heck of impressive. That's one more than Boston with all that stacked team. That's one more than Milwaukee. I'm just saying. They come up big in the postseason. They just don't have the finished product. That's the problem. Yeah, he wins that. He's probably top 4, 5 ever. To win 3 chips, especially in a post Braun, D Wade, Wade, and Bosh. Oh yeah, well he's already that. He's already that. There's nothing he can do that's going to surpass Auerbach, so that's off the table, you know. But he sits at the table with him. For me, he sits at the table with R.C. Buford from San Antonio. Cause I got to put Buford there. Jerry West. I want to put the OKC dude, but they don't win nothing. That's the only problem because you keep getting all these MVPs in you. Yeah, well, what they did is they adapted to what was happening. Basically, teams still have to play with heart and emotion, and Miami just became, shooting barrage of guys, which they basically got out the YMCA. Think about it. Them cats basically were Y rejects, and they just shot and shot. So that's what it was. But yeah, you ain't got a tank. And they had hard playing guys who could play the role. They just don't have the finisher to win the chip. That's all I'll keep saying. Look, Jimmy Butler is going to probably be in that argument one of the best in there if he cared during the regular season. His regular season just ain't going to match it. That's all. Unless he gets to 20,000 points. He gets to 20,000 career points, then he'll fall into one of the best that never win. That's the only way he'll get that. But he doesn't play like that for stats because if he did, you know. So Yeah, that's what I keep saying. That's why they couldn't beat the Lakers or the Nuggets in the finals. Gotta have some booty in the glass. And if you don't, you get smashed. And again, teams can play point guard. You know, Rondo was touring with him. KCP was touring. I was watching it. You know, Denver's because I cringed when I got to the second half because I knew Denver was going to beat them. I already knew. And it's kind of like you fight, or like if you're a boxer, right? And you say, well, I can go 12 rounds with you. Well, yeah, but can you win? No. Because even though it looks like an evenly matched fight, the other guy's beating you 8 rounds to 4. That's the problem they have. They get beat 8-4. They have 4 solid, strong ones. And even one of them look like they could probably flip the script, but they just don't quite have enough to get to the next stage saga. So, yeah. So, yeah. It's not just about size, it's also about your heart. So they do play with a lot of heart. They just can't finish. That's all. And sometimes even the series is against the Lakers, they ran out of gas. They got some hard nosed guys there, but that's not what they need right now. They need a guy who can come off that bench and light up 25, 30. That's what they need. You know, they got some nice cats there playing, but they need someone that can just turn into old Clay or turn into, you know, they need somebody. So, not today, he can't. Not today, he can't. He can barely give you a high five off the bench without getting hurt. He's not the same dude. I mean, they will be interesting come to playoffs, but I don't have, I don't see much there. So pretty much just going. Uh, how are you shocked? He's considered a malcontent. He cursed out a lot of his coaches. He underachieved. He should have been better than Anthony Davis, talent wise. Should have been a Hall of Fame kind of player. He burned bridges in LA. He got into mess with Golden State. He got a ring. The mess was embarrassing in New Orleans, and him and George Karl, all that other stuff. Oh, I am as far as his talent goes, but his attitude is what got him ran out. No, listen, Boogie shoulda, woulda, coulda, shoulda. Okay, he's a woulda. He was like a bigger version of Charles Barkley. Okay, he was probably more Charles Barkley than Zion Williamson is. All right, inside, outside, could shoot three, could go to hole, had handles, had wheels, could move. He just had a bad attitude, and he burned bridges. That's why he doesn't have a job. Stephon Marbury'd him. He's not gonna come out and say it, but that's what happened. None of them will touch him. You gonna tell me a guy with his skill set can't get a job in the NBA today? You gonna tell me that with a straight face? You're a smart man. He burned bridges, and Adam Silver and them are long on memory. Boogie's a sad story because he should have been a. He's a woulda, coulda, shoulda. Yeah, but like I said before, you gotta be careful what you say. And certain things he said, that's what they used against him. But let me ask you this question. Could you imagine him with Sabonis, D Fox, and Monk right now? They would be, if he's playing at his best, that would be the team out the West. And he would be a problem for the mighty Jokic. Because he had wheels too. But he messed up. He was, again, I forgot how I heard about it, but that's what basically happened. He burned too many bridges. That's why some of the guys that you don't see that you be like, oh, why him? He burned bridges. He burned bridges. People don't talk about it much because it's kind of like because he was considered a malcontent. But he burned bridges though. See something real quick. Yeah. Well, no, do he burnt the whole water too, but that's a whole nother conversation. That's a whole nother level. But it wasn't his fault. That was politics. That was a different situation. It wasn't his fault. It's just that that's what they want you to do to adhere. Wasn't his fault. But guys like Monty Ellis and Boogie and them, that's because they had attitude. And they basically said, I don't want these white boys telling me what to do. Well, did too. I do, but that was more political. And I'm gonna tell you something. They would much rather have a Monte Ellis. Yeah, he was kicked out. They would much rather have a black dude being malcontent than be militant. Okay, they don't like you to be too black, and that's the reality about Do Raoul's situation, which is in Hodges too. Challenge authority. Mm-mm. That's what Kyrie Irving faced. So you know, people don't understand the politics of it. I told you I don't think he's too black. I think that thing that he put was sparking debate. I don't think he was too black because Kyrie doesn't scare nobody. Not like that. He's not a movement. Not like that. I haven't seen a basketball player that I would. Iverson was a movement. Okay. That was a movement. Kyrie ain't no Iverson. All right. And that's not the same. That's why David Stern white out his tattoos and forbid his album coming out. Kyrie ain't Kyrie just struck a chord because he talked about Jews and he had a clip which got blown out of proportion. I don't look at Kyrie as too black. He's a black man and he does have you know, some pro black thoughts and stuff, but I don't look at him as like too black. Because he's still with the shoes and the movies and he's got crossover appeal. He ain't never said nothing that's been where they're like, oh, you know. But you saw what happened with that Brooklyn Nets owner, right? They sat him down and he's on his best behavior in Dallas because if he messes this up, it's either out the league or he goes to Toronto or somewhere, some screwed team. So he's got to watch it. I know in the back of the mind, the Lakers would like to get their hands on him now, but I don't think he's going to catch LeBron. Maybe AD, but not LeBron. So, but he drills and he overworks guys and he's very demanding. And sometimes it makes sense and sometimes it doesn't. I remember how he nitpicked with Shaq about Shaq's body shape and wanted him to be like, and Shaq said, look, Alonzo Mourning got a six pack. How many rings he got? I mean, and that's a fact. Because Shaq had, you know, proven that, Riley rides that. He just rides that body count, all that. He's real finicky. He's real particulars about methods. You know, he rides his point guards hard. And sometimes it works, sometimes it backfires. So, but great coach, though. Just like Riley, you know. They cut from the same cloth. The difference is the Pat suits tend to feel like they cost more. Carlo's more of an old school kind of coach. He'll ride his guards. He'll ride, Um, he has a standard he's trying to adhere to. He's in a really good to very good situation as a coach. You know, so his is more of a coaching philosophy. You know, but I had none. He got the most out of that team. They went to multiple finals in a row and they won a couple chips. Can't find fault with Casey Jones. He was very effective. Very effective. When you win multiple rings and you go to finals left and right, you obviously got the respect of your team and your captain. So that's, you know, nothing with Daly in Detroit. My only problem is that he didn't defend Isaiah Thomas coming to the Olympic team. That's all. But as far as he set out to do what he did with the Pistons. So no pet peeve with him. You know. Can't find none because I mean he just didn't win the Super Bowl, but I can't find none. I mean he went to four straight. Can't find none. I miss him as a coach right now with the Bills because I know he know how to handle the Josh Allen temperament. So McCarthy, I don't even talk about McCarthy. That's your boy. He doesn't even belong in having a discussion about him because I just don't think he can finish nothing. He need to been fired. Anybody can see that. He lost three different ways, 3 different years. What else do I need to say? That last way that Ezekiel with the 49ers game couldn't get the offense generated. Bad play clock management against the 49ers in the wild card game. Couldn't get a field goal team out. Got smashed by a year and a half, 2 year rookie. Basically, with Jordan Love, looked like he had his team unprepared. He is not capable of handling this position. He looks overmatched, overworked. Yeah, well, yeah, Mr. 12-5. If they if Jerry Jones keeps bringing him back, I mean, yeah, he's a 5 game better version of Jason Garrett with a 20-year-old ring, but I mean, you're not winning with him. I mean, he had Jordan Love looking like Aaron Rodgers, okay? I mean, and yeah, they should have probably beat Frisco, but he looked like he was a Hall of Famer. The way he lit that defense up, that's embarrassing. So, and Dak doesn't look progressive at all. So, not big on him. That's how he kind of corny jokes and tries to ride things. That's all. I mean, he's stiff neck white dude. They stiff. That's how he got the gig. So, like, well, we'll be right back, and we're going to. And got some knowledge, but I liked his dad better though. Dad had more life to him. I mean, Buck's all right. I know. I don't want anybody saying, "Oh, you just hating because he's white." No, I just think that his cadence and stuff. The Yankees, 70s, because their bullpen was stacked. Sparky Loud before you got the Goose in them, they were stacked. Um, the 80s Philadelphia Phillies, Tim McGraw and they had a strong uh, Pirates in the 70s had a strong bullpen. The Yankees in the 90s, of course. It's part of the reason why you win multiple rings. And the Giants, the last 15 years when they won the rings, those songs come to mind. Yeah, that's what I was talking about. That's what I was talking about. I'm gonna get up in about 3 minutes. I got a few more minutes before I'm gonna get snack up and call it night. But yeah, the '98 Yankees bullpen was legit. They were tight. They were tight. Definitely liked them. Couldn't do no wrong that year. Yeah, still got a couple minutes before I get out of here. Yeah, that was a strong bullpen. Yep. Well, anyway, appreciate everyone that came through. Great for the comments. Always looking forward to it. Thoughts, feedback. Try to get back here tomorrow. Stay safe, stay warm, stay cool, stay fresh, and keep bringing new ideas. And we're gonna keep talking about different things. So, uh, it's definitely been a cool night. Um, I always like going back in time and, like I said, going over a whole array of different things. So, again, it was much appreciated. So, I'll catch you probably in 24. I am making some videos tomorrow, whatnot. So, all right, I'll catch you. And somebody just came back, so I'll give one more minute if anybody's got one last question before I call it a night. Because I don't want to leave unless someone got one more thing to say. But I think we touched on everything. I gotta watch some of these sports clips, see what they're talking about, because I want to see what the whole thing with McAfee and McAfee and Steven. I want to check that out. Watching Kendrick talking about the Golden State. They actually asked that dumb question. I said, no, they're not coming back. Stop asking. But anyway, again, appreciate everybody coming through. So it was a great night. And take it easy. Catch you. Won't be long now. Stay up and take care of yourself. Peace. The best. I'm out.